Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Excel Island and welcome back to day 5 of 100 days of Power BI, where we plan to master the Power BI, Microsoft Power BI data analytics tool for the next 100 days. I'm super excited. Today is day 5 and it has been an interesting learning journey. We are starting a new course today, which is Introduction to DAX in Power BI. So if you've missed previous lesson for the last 4 days of the live stream, can catch up on the channel where we actually did introduction to Power BI and some basic Power BI knowledge you need to know, like connecting the data, Power Query, data visualization, or importing, inserting sliders, changing different chart visuals. Or we also talked about different filters like visual level filter, page level filter, and report level filters. So it's quite interesting. You can catch up from the previous live stream. And also you can download the data set for for the whole 100 days of code using the link in the YouTube description. You have access to the data set, so you can also practice along with me as we learn together. Make sure to practice. It's very, very important to practice. Don't just watch it like a movie, or else you forget. So practice, get your hands dirty, and get things done. So without further ado, let's continue on day 5. The goal is we are starting a new course in a career track. So let me show you what that looks like. So we actually enrolled in data analyst in Power BI track on the DataCamp platform. And I actually have a 1 year subscription on the platform, and I'm trying to make use of it to the maximum. So on my previous live stream, when I started this whole idea, I covered data analysis in SQL. We were able to complete it for the last 100 days. Did you get it now? So and I built quite a lot of projects also, which I also plan to share. I think I built 4 different projects while learning this data analysis in SQL, and I plan to make proper videos for it. I've just been busy, working, attending to my clients, trying to learn and upskill. It hasn't been easy making content, and also so there's a lot of work to do. But we are continuing from our data analysis in Power BI. We're actually 5% through the track. Let's go. Because if you don't do it, 100 days is going to come and we won't have achieved anything. So we just have to do it. So if I click on data analysis in Power BI, the whole career track actually contains 17 courses, which is estimated for 48 hours of learning. But definitely you're going to spend more than 48 hours of learning. We've actually completed one of the course in the whole 17 courses, so we have 16 courses more to go. You can catch Introduction to Power BI in the last 4 live stream that is on the channel, so you can make sure to follow along step by step. Don't skip. So let's continue from Introduction to DAX. So don't forget, you can now access the data set using the link in the description. I'm trying to open my file here. Yeah, I'm trying to open my file, my PDF file. Yeah, which I've already downloaded this time around. I'm moving that to my second screen, so you can also see my screen here. So I do have access to the files, to the slides here also. But the data sets, I've linked them below, do not forget. So let's try and complete at least chapter 1 today, which is Introduction to DAX. So each of the courses is always 4 chapters. Oh, this one is 3 this time around. So we have 3 chapters to cover in this Introduction to DAX. All right, let's get started. Hope you are ready. I am also. Oh, I need to use my headset so I can hear Jess. So Jess will be taking us introduction to Power BI, to DAX in Power BI this time around.
Hi, I'm Jess. I will be your instructor for this introductory course on DAX. We'll cover the basics of DAX and have you writing DAX calculations before you know it. DAX stands for Data Analysis Expressions. It is a formula language used in Power BI that provides the ability to create columns, tables, and measures. If you've ever used Excel formulas and functions, good news. DAX is to Power BI what formulas are to Excel. For example, the sum function is the same in Excel as it is in DAX. DAX is more than just Power BI. It is used in other Microsoft tools, including analysis services and Power Pivot. Functions are predefined formulas that perform calculations on specific values, called arguments, in a particular order. Each function has a specific syntax indicating the order of arguments to be expected. DAX has over 200 different functions that fall into
Whoa.
several categories, including aggregation, date and time, logical, text, and many more. You can find a full list of all functions and their syntax in Microsoft's documentation linked here. Let's take a look at two examples, starting with the sum function. The sum function takes a column and adds up all the numbers. It has one argument. In the example, we are summing the sales column. The left function takes two arguments, a string and an integer. It returns a specified number of characters from the start of the string. In our example, we input DataCamp and specify 4 characters, which returns data. Calculated columns can be very useful as they enable us to expand our existing dataset without editing the source data. Calculated columns evaluates at a row level and therefore adds a new column to an existing table. Any column that is created is calculated at data load or when the data is refreshed. Let's say we are trying to calculate price with tax. For this, we start by defining the column name, followed by an equals, and proceed to write our formula. In this case, price plus brackets price times tax, close brackets. In the table below, we can see this implemented in a real-world scenario. Calculated measures work a bit different. Measures enable you to create complex calculations that can be used on your data. Where columns evaluate for each row, measures aggregate multiple rows and adds a new field that can be added to a visualization. The measure itself is calculated at query time rather than when the data is loaded, therefore gets updated as you interact and filter the data. This means it is more efficient because the calculation isn't run every time a table is accessed, instead only when it is being used. Measures can be created in two ways, by writing a DAX formula or by using Power BI's Quick Measure. We will get into quick measures later on in the course. Let's go back to our previous example and calculate the total price with tax that uses the sum function to calculate the sum of all prices with tax together. We can now add this measure to a card in a Power BI report to discover the total price with tax is $185. To summarize, calculated columns evaluate for each row. It adds a new column to an existing table and is calculated at data load or when the data is refreshed. Whereas measures aggregate multiple rows, results in another field that can be added to your visualization and is calculated at query time as you interact and filter. In later chapters, we will dive into calculated tables. In our exercises, we'll be working with data from the fictional bike company AdventureWorks that sells bikes and bike parts globally. We will have a table called Sales, which contains information about every order item purchased. Let's practice.
Okay, let's practice. So calculated columns versus measures. You see, Power BI enables you to create custom calculations to carry out analysis on the fly. By utilizing DAX, you can create custom calculations via calculated columns and measure. However, it is important to understand the difference between them to ensure you are using them correctly. It says drag and drop the items into the correct bucket based on whether it applies to a calculated column or a calculated measure. Evaluate based on the set of data selected. Filters on slides has been applied in the reports. That's calculated measure. Revenue and cost are two columns in your table. Profit equal to revenue minus cost is an example of two columns in your table. Profit equals to revenue minus cost. I'll just go for calculated column. Evaluated at the row level, that is calculated column. Return one value per row. That is definitely a measure. Not store the memory. Make use of CPU and is calculated each time a filter or slicer changes. Hmm. Hmm. Not stored in memory. That's quite interesting. Never thought of that before. Uh, a filter or slicer changes. That will be a calculated measure. Definitely a measure. Sales is a column in your table. Some sales is an example of definitely a measure, and this should be this is a calculated column, definitely. Oh, return one value per row. Per row. Oh, hold up, per row. I missed that. Returns one value per row. Calculated column. Exactly. Oh, that's correct. Uh, that's correct. I gave that to each other. Interesting. Because calculated column evaluates on the row level. Sometimes it's called row level, row context or row level. Why measures evaluate on filter level? There's a different here. It's called filter level. When it comes to measures, they evaluate on filter based on the filtering of your data sets. So it can be hard to mix them up. Okay, let's continue learning.
Now it's time to learn how to create calculated columns and measures in Power BI. We'll be using
Let me quickly launch my data sets. I've got to use my local Power BI. So make sure to download the data set in the YouTube description so you can follow along with me. Adventure works, okay. I have them here. Let's see. These are the data sets for the exercise files. Okay. Let's continue.
a single table that contains transactional information about commodities traded every day from January 2000 to March 2022. You can see all available columns by clicking on the drop-down next to the table on the Fields pane. Let's start by renaming the report page from Page 1 to Commodities. We will start with creating our first calculated column. This can be created from inside the report or data view by selecting our table and clicking New Column. Our table Commodities contains an open price and a close price, but we do not currently see the trading difference for each day on each commodity. We create a new column called Trading Change, followed by an equal sign. As we start to type close, Power BI's IntelliSense leaps into action and shows us a list of all columns and functions that match our text. From here, we can select close, followed by a subtraction sign, then open. Now we can commit this new column by clicking the check mark or pressing enter. Our new column looks great. Now it's time to create our first measure. As our reports develop, we will start to create a multitude of measures, which can easily get lost in our data model. It's best practice to create a calculations table in our model that acts as a folder for all our measures. It doesn't contain any actual data, but rather a placeholder for all our measures. The naming convention will always start with an underscore so that it appears at the top of the Fields pane. As you can see, this has already been created for you and called Calculations. When you create a new measure, make sure that you have selected this table. We will create a new measure called Max Close Price, which computes the highest closing price. For this measure, we will now use the max function, which takes a column name. In this case, our close column. We can now close this function with a parenthesis and commit. We can now see our new measure in our Fields pane under the Calculations table. Now that we have our measure created, let's visualize it. Let's select a line chart from the Visualizations pane and pull in our max close price and date. We can see that the max close price for commodities trended upwards till 2011 before taking a dip and then slowly improving up until 2022. Another great feature to get familiar with in Power BI is the drill down function on charts. It enables you to go from a high-level view to a more granular level when a hierarchy in the data exists. For example, our date uses Power BI's built-in date hierarchy. We can use the drill feature to select 2014 and drill into the quarters for that year. You can keep drilling till you get to the lowest level, in this case, day. Equally, we can use the drill up feature to move back up the hierarchy. Alternatively, you can drill down to the second level of the hierarchy, not just the selected year, but all years to see how it changes at a quarter level. The selective drill down doesn't give you this option. To achieve this, you can use the fork-like button. We can now see a new view for max close, not lowest level for that year. You can keep drilling till you get to the lowest level, in this case, day. Equally, we can use the drill up feature to move back up the hierarchy. Alternatively, you can drill down to the second level of the hierarchy, not just the selected year, but all years to see how it changes at a quarter level. The selective drill down doesn't give you this option. To achieve this, you can use the fork-like button. We can now see a new view for max close price. Now it's your turn. Let's use the knowledge you've learned in this screencast and apply it.
Let's see. So it says Adventure Works. I'm reading the instruction from here. Adventure Works cycles have just started their Power BI journey and would like to understand their yearly profitability. In the sales table, we would like to create a column to see how much profit we gained from each order line. To calculate profit, we need to subtract the line cost from the price. Okay. Everything is prepared for you right in DataCamp, but if you prefer to take the course on your local version of Power BI, you can download the course materials here, which I have already done, or on the course overview page. More information on how to take this course can be found in these sheets. We've done that. So open profit column. Hold up. I'm trying to see if I have it here. Profit column exercise file. Okay. Let me see if I've downloaded it. Let me go back to the course. I think for this chapter 2 of the course, there's a different, wait a minute, tracks. I think actually for the chapter 2, there's a different folder created for it. Let me see it here. This is how the instructors, if I open the course here, let me see, DataCamp, because I can't actually find the DAX parts in my exercise files there. I'm actually seeing the exercise file for the data sets. Let me see if I can, let me download this one first and see what it looks like. I have it downloaded already, but I still don't know why I'm not seeing that part because there. This shouldn't take time. Let's go back. Just want to understand why it is not there. Okay, let's continue then. Hopefully I have this part of the file here. from here. Okay, this is introduction to Power BI. So I think I'm downloading a new file for this introduction to DAX. So now let's see. Okay, so let me continue from this interface first. So say Adventure Work Cycles have just started their Power BI journey and would like to understand their yearly profitability. In the sales table, we would like to create a column to see how much profit we gained from each other line. To calculate profits, we need to subtract the line cost from the line price. Let's see. So let's open. Let me go click on it and see what it looks like. Profit. Oh, these are new. Yeah, these are new data sets, which I'll also upload in the link in the description, because this is introduction to DAX data sets, not introduction to Power BI. So I will upload it after this live stream, so you have access to it also. So profit columns, which is 111. This is it. Eh? So mine is still downloading. Just like it. That's quite slow. So when we open that, for this exercise, we name the current page to profits. Okay. Create a new column in the sales table called profits that subtract line cost from the line price. Okay. That's quite easy to do. Right, we are up and running. So it says create a new column in the sales table. So if I go to the data view, I prefer doing that calculation in data view, which is the calculated column. So we actually want to subtract the cost from line. Where is the cost column? The line cost is the line cost from line price. So all I have to do is just click on new column from here. So it's going to create a new column, working on it. Let's see. So my calculation now be here. What should we call that calculation? Create a new column in the sales table called profits. We want to call it profits. So our profits will now be equals to line cost from line price. So we're supposed to subtract the line costs from your line price. So the price is going to come first. So line price, can see, so line price, which is this column here, line price. So this actual column here minus line cost. That gives us the profits from the sales. So I could just commit that by clicking this. So the new column will be created right here in the table. You can see profits, which is the subtraction of this from this. So next is, in the report view, create a clustered column chart that shows the sum of profits for each other year. So if you go back to the report view here, I'll just drop my clustered column charts. That is stacked, is clustered. Once I have that, I can fill up the y-axis and the x-axis right here. The y-axis and the x-axis will be filled with. Create a cluster column chart that shows the sum of profits for each other year. So one will be, so I could do year, which is other year, is other dates. So this is other year. If I click on it to drop it in the right place, and I need to drop the profits to visualize that. The profit I just created. Aha, so you can see that. I'll just bring that here. You are building a calculation with DAX. Try to make that bigger so you can see it. So the next instruction says, how much profit did Adventure Work Cycles generate in 2019? If you look at 2019, this is 2019, just hovering over it, it's going to show you the actual profit, which is 44.4. So this is the answer right there. Got that. Yippee! That's interesting. So we are moving on to the next instruction. Sales count. So in the previous exercise, we created a calculated column to find the profit for each transaction. Now, we will be utilizing a count function to understand the general trend of orders since Adventure Work started operating. So if you lost progress, close any open report. I didn't lose any progress. So I'm still waiting for the data set to upload. So I'll upload the data set in the link under the YouTube description so you can have access to it and practice while watching this recording. If I go back, so let's continue. Sales counts. Let's continue. So for this exercise, create a new page in the report called sales counts. Let me just open the sales counts as instructed. But let me save it just for tracking sake. The next one is sales count file. Okay. So create a new page. We're going to create a new page. Then throughout this course, we discover a variety of new functions. Create a new measure, sales count, inside the calculations table, which uses the distance count function on the column that contains other numbers. We are going to count, okay, actually that is like counting the total orders. We are going to use distance counts on the other number because an order may actually contain more than 2 items. You get it now? So, but they are going to have same order number ID. Just imagine you actually purchase uh, an item from Amazon. You're going to have one order. If they're going to deliver all those items to your location, to your destination, so there'll be a pamphlet showing the order number, but the items under the order number could be 2, 3, 4, or 5. So if you want to calculate the total orders, so you always use distance count to do that type of calculation. Quite interesting. So throughout this course, okay, so create a line chart to show. I'm going to create a new page first. So my new page will be sales count. Call that sales count. So then we create a line chart. Create a line chart to show. So throughout this course, we discover create a new measure, sales count inside the calculation. So I want to create a new measure here. So I could just click on that and say new measure, just like this. So it's going to work on that. So my new measure is going to be called sales count, which will now be equals to distinct function, distinct, or I spell that wrongly, distinct count function. Look at distinct count. So what to do is distinct count on the other numbers. So I will just search for other numbers. It will be a column in our sales table. So I log that in. I'll just press enter on my keyboard. So that measure will be created right here because it says counts. So the next instruction, create a line chart to show the sales count by order dates. So we just drop a line chart first. This is a line chart right here. So the line chart should show us sales counts. So I just drop my sales counts. That should be the value, y-axis, then order dates. Order dates should be So that will be an hierarchy. Because if you date hierarchy, we have the year, the other day, the other month, the other quarter, the other year. So date hierarchy, the other date hierarchy. So we are using the date hierarchy. Oh, so you can see that. So we have the other date hierarchy. Let me just check that. So we have the other day, other months, other quarter, other year. But there's an hierarchy already, which is what was created here. So I'll just check this box. So that will be added up there. By default, it has a drill down to the lowest level in the hierarchy. Use the chart drill down feature to drill up one level to see month year view. If you want to see month year view, if I click on this drill up, let me make it bigger. The line chart is actually not viewable that much. If I drill up, if I use it, since it's an hierarchy, since this column here, then I can see we have day, month, quarter, year. So you can go up and down on each level. You can go from day to month, month to quarter, quarter to year. Also from year to quarter, quarter to month, using the feature on the line chart actually. If I click on drill up, that you can see this has gone from year, January 2017, January 2018, month year basis. So by default, try the lowest level, use the chart feature to deal up one level to see month year view. So you can see the month year view right now. So which month year do we see our largest number of orders? That should be this one here. That should be 2020 quarter 2 May. Which month year? That should be May. Let's put that. May 20 what? That's the highest order. 2020. Let's submit that. That's correct. We got that. Super easy. So you can also drill up. I think we can also drill up one more time. So you can drill up to see month year. So this is year on a year basis. The 2020 and 2019 was actually the best year for them. But when you're looking at quarter by month by year, May 2020 was actually the best. We can also drill down back to where we came from. So drill down, we can drill down here. Under the feature, click on to drill down. Okay, that's interesting. So let's continue. Oh, my data set is actually almost done downloading. So this one says profit margin ratio. So doing another calculations here. So that's the backbone of Power BI, doing calculations, knowing when the type of calculation you want to do, the actual question you want to answer can be pretty tricky. If you stay to it, you will figure it out. Profit margin ratio. So the profit margin ratio compares the total profit with the total sales. Total profit with the total sales. It is an important financial metric and it's always expressed as a percentage. In this exercise, you create a measure to represent the profit margin ratio. Total sales has already been calculated for you, but we need total profit. Luckily, in an early exercise, we created a profit, so we have profit created already. We just need to sum the profit up to our total profit column that we can use to make our total profit measure. There are two ways to calculate this. One way is by using divide function to calculate profit margin ratio, and then we divide total sales by total profits. That's cool. Let's continue. Profit margin ratio. We need to create a new page again. Let me just close this page and open the profit margin ratio. You can save that. So this is our second file. Do not forget, I will link all the file under the description so you can download it to practice also. So let's open this profit margin ratio exercise file. I'm exhausted already. I was pretty weak today, but I just have to make sure I show up and not miss day 5. That's why I've got my energy drink here to keep me going. Okay, so let's continue. So the instruction says we have to create a new page in the report called profit margin ratio. That's interesting. Let's create a new page. For that, we call the page profits margin ratio. Done. Then create a total profits measure inside the calculation. So we just need to create a new measure. So we have total sales count, total sales. Then we're building our calculations up. I can just say new measure. So our new measure will be total profits, which is just the sum of the profits column in the sales table. It's called total profits equals to sum of the profits column in the sales table. So we check that and log that in. So while that is logged in, you can see we have total profits measure right here. So next instruction is create a measure called profit margin ratio, which divides total profit by total sales. Divide total profit by total sales. So new measure one more time. We call the measure profit margin ratio. Margin ratio equals to divide function. We divide function. Let's provide the numerator and the denominator. So divide total profit by total sales. So that will be total profits. This is actually a measure that we have actually calculated. So this is what is called measure trees. We're actually using a measure that we've created before, right here, use total profit and total sales to create a new measure. And that is one of the advanced uses of Power BI. That's how people actually know how to use Power BI. If you can use measures to create new measures and new measures and new measures. So that's how it works. They're actually called measure trees. So that'll be total profits, divided by total sales. And you see measure, measure by this calculator icon here. That shows what we're actually looking at is the measure. That's one. And number two, it's you have this bracket, close, open and close bracket. Now that you also notice the measure. That's quite different from a column. So I think if I call on a column, let's say we call on the sales column now. I can't even look at the sales, or I can't even call on a column. I can't point to a column while creating a measure. That will be using calculated column measure. So let's call on the total of sales back. So we log that in. So there's a third alternative function there. I forgot to mention that. Let me just go back to it real quick. So there's an alternative. Because alternative is in case I'm getting error from both total profit and total measure, I can say the alternative should be 0. It doesn't really matter. That will still work fine. So it will just, instead of returning that error for the actual row, it's going to return 0. But I can also leave it out. I'll just choose to leave it out. That will be if you're having missing values in your records. You get it now? So we have that already. So calculation will be using divide function that takes two other measures as an argument. Format profit margin ratio so that it displays as a percentage. So we need to format this profit margin ratio. I'll click on it like this. and format it to percentage. You can see. So it will be displayed in percent. You can see format as percentage, and with 2 decimal places. Right here. So create a line chart to visualize the profit margin ratio by order year. So we are going to drop a line chart right now. So in that line chart, we have the profit margin ratio calculation and order year, which is our order year right here. Let me just search for year. Let's see. Let me just use the year. Because we have the year there. You can see that. Have the other year there. So now let's answer the question. It says, in which year did Adventure Works achieve the highest profit margin? That should be 2019. You can see the profit margin 2019, which is over 40 something percent. Yeah, that's 41%. Let's log that in. Cool, we got that. We got that right there. Wow, we finished this introduction to DAX. That is quite interesting. So the next chapter is contents in DAX formulas. Well, let's stop here for the day. We actually learned a lot and practice. So we continue from here on day 6. We'll go back to the learning dashboard and see. So we just have 1 hour more to go for introduction to DAX in Power BI. All right. So thanks for staying to the end of the live stream. If you stay to the end and also practice, do make sure to practice. It's very, very important to practice immediately so the knowledge sticks with you forever. All right. Thanks for staying once again, and I'll see you on day 6. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and put on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when I go live or drop a new content to support the channel. Don't take much. Just give this video a like. If you come across this video, give it a like and subscribe to support the channel. Let's go and learn together. As usual, bye for now. I'll see you on day 6 or on the next video on the channel. Bye.